Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is my review for Teen Wolf Season 4, Episode 10, Monstrous. And this episode was amazing. By far the best episode of the season. I was really into this episode. Just such a great episode. So many things we found out in this episode. I mean, really, everything's starting to connect in this episode. We actually, found out a lot more, especially with the benefactor. We found a lot more about the benefactor, and I really enjoyed that, definitely. I thought it was very good. We found a whole bunch of shit about the benefactor, and I just thought that was just very well done. Love this episode, and really looking forward to the next episode. Unfortunately, we have to wait a week for the next episode, because, of course, this episode was on Sunday instead of Monday. They're repeating, and the reason they did that, if you guys are wondering, you guys are probably wondering, they didn't just do it because it's before the VMAs. I think they did it because they know the Emmys are on tomorrow, and if Teen Wolf was on tomorrow and it was a new episode, and if it was a new episode, what would end up happening, basically, is that Teen Wolf would not get the views that they deserve. Not enough people will watch it because everyone would be watching the Emmys. So, that's why Teen Wolf was on tonight instead of last night. So, let's get to this episode. Basically, we see Brett and this other younger girl running away from several assassins, and they're herded toward the lacrosse field, and the assassins surround them and fire their arrows. Now, Kira, however, is there to save the day. She cuts an arrow in half with her sword and tells them to run. Now, of course, we haven't seen Kira since, for 2 episodes, and it was good to see Kira again. I like seeing Kira be a badass. I always love seeing that, and it was great to see that in that scene, definitely. So at Scott's house, Liam tells Scott he's not like him. He doesn't think he can help protect everyone like the others do. He definitely is very worried about that. And the thing is, I understand why Liam's concerned, because, Liam's a beta. He's not an alpha yet. He's only a beta. Actually, no, he's an omega. Liam is an omega. He's not a beta. He's not an alpha. He is a omega, and he's not exactly, fully trained yet. He still needs to be trained, and he doesn't know if he's going to be able to protect everyone. So he's kind of worried about that, definitely, and I understand why he definitely is worried about that. So then we see at the hospital, Styles has a concussion, and Melissa won't let him leave, obviously because he has a concussion. I love seeing how Melissa is so much like Styles' mother as much as she is Scott's mother. It's always just really fun to watch. I've always loved that. But he concedes, but only if she brings him a cassette player, obviously because he needs to listen to the tape of Lorraine Martin's death, because we know that Lydia's mom, Lorraine, was the whole reason, with the benefactor. He's trying to find out more about the benefactor, and that's what that has to do with. So, then at the station, Lydia and Sheriff Stilinski are discussing the mental competency of Meredith Walker, saying that if she's, obviously Lydia's in complete shock right now because she did not expect her to be the benefactor, and she doesn't really believe her. She feels like there's something else going on that someone is definitely hiding. They're not telling her the whole truth. There's definitely something else going on here, and she can't really figure out what it is, but she just doesn't believe everything that she's hearing. And I understand why Lydia, is worried about that, because it doesn't fully make sense if you think about it. It really doesn't. But basically, she's definitely aware enough to be, if she really is the benefactor, she's definitely aware enough to be charged as a criminal mastermind. So, they're trying to discuss that. And then Scott takes Liam home. He meets up with Kira, and, it's a very sweet scene between Scott and Kira. They kiss and everything. And I really like that Scott and Kira are together now. I do like that. I mean, it's been a slow burn for them to get together, but I like that they're back together, definitely. I'm a big fan of that. So, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Scott and Kira, but I like them. I mean, they're never going to be Scott and Allison, but yes, I do like them together. If you guys were to ask me, do you like Scott and Kira? Yes, I do like them. I think they're good together. I do. But basically, Scott takes Liam home, he meets up with Kira, and she says she's found the remainder of Satomi's pack, and there's definitely a lot more than just Brett and the young girl. There are many other members of Satomi's pack, and, that definitely was very big. So then his abandoned warehouse, Chris Argent finds a lone plant with yellow flowers, so we don't really know what that is. Is it a form of wolfsbane, or we don't know what it is? I mean, that was really weird. So then at the station, Meredith still will not talk. She's not talking. Lydia says, okay, I'm going to talk to her. I need to get something. I need to, talk to someone. And Lydia she's kind of pissed that Meredith isn't talking, really. And I agree with Lydia. I mean, Meredith she needs to talk, seriously. She needs to explain herself because Lydia is obviously very confused right now, especially the fact that Meredith and Lydia are both banshees. She doesn't really understand that. Now, Malia and Styles, however, are finally getting their chance to have a heart-to-heart discussion because Melissa leaves and Malia, comes into the door. And Malia says it's hard for her to forgive, but luckily she finally does forgive Styles, which I'm glad about because honestly, I understand why she was upset at Styles. She was upset because he never told her about Peter being her father. Obviously, she was upset with that, but, now she's realizing, you know what, I gotta move past this. She realized that she really does like Styles. She really would like to be in this relationship with him, and she really does want this to work. So I like seeing that, definitely. I like that she did end up, making up with him. I like that, definitely. Thought that was definitely very good, and I was happy that that happened for them, definitely. I was very happy for them, because of that. Very good scene. So, Chris Sargent ends up locking up that plant that we saw, and he notices tracks in the dust and follows them. And he comes face to face with Scott and Satomi's pack, who are looking for a place to hide. Now, Chris says if the assassins use crossbows, they're probably hunters at least. At least they used to be before they took money for gang. So, definitely something's going on here. They don't know what's going on here, but, something's going on there. So, Styles and Malia are listening to Lorraine's tape, and they figure out that Brunski and, and Lydia's grandmother weren't in Eichenhaus when it was made. It's not from Eichenhaus. We thought that they were in Eichenhaus, and they weren't. So, they turn up the volume. Malia realizes she can actually hear the record player in the background, which means Lorraine was in the lake house. So that is a very big thing, definitely, because that all goes back to that record player that Lydia was listening to. If you remember in episode 4, Lydia was listening to that record player, and basically they figure out that Lorraine predicted the deaths of everyone on the list and that it wasn't originally meant as a hit list. And I definitely thought that was a very interesting thing that, wasn't originally meant as a hit list. It was meant to be just a, the death of the people who are going to die. That's what it was meant to be. It wasn't meant to be really a hit list. And, Meredith ended up using it as a hit list. So I thought that was definitely very interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but that was definitely very interesting. So Scott then has called Derek, and he has also called Braden, and of course Derek and Braden, we know they're together now. I like them together. I've said this before. I like Derek and Braden together. I think they are cute together. I like that Derek has this relationship with Braden now. I do like them. And he's called Braden to help figure out what should be done with Satomi's pack, and basically the assassins will come after them again, and they'll need to be ready. So Derek suggests fighting back by putting out a warning. Anyone who comes after the werewolves will be put on a hit list of their own. That's basically what the plan is that, anyone that's coming after them, they're going to kill him, and that's it. They're going to kill him. So Lydia is finally trying to talk to Meredith. She's really just wants to get her to speak because she doesn't understand why Meredith just won't speak up. But the thing is, Meredith says, Lydia says, I know you want to talk, and there's no reason that I know you want to talk to me because you want to talk. And Meredith says, I do want to talk, but I want to talk to Peter Hale. Now, that's really big because turns out that Meredith reveals that she knows Peter from when he had scars, but Peter doesn't seem to remember her for whatever reason. It seems like Peter doesn't remember her because Lydia, Deputy Parrish, and Sheriff Stilinski, they are listening in, and Lydia can tell that Meredith knew who Peter was. For whatever reason, though, Peter does not remember anything. It doesn't seem there's something that Peter does not remember, and I love that we got this backstory here of what ended up happening to Meredith and Peter. I thought this was very well done. Basically, she reveals that she knows Peter from when he had scars, and Meredith tells Peter that she said she had to keep the origins of a hit list a secret, so in a fit of rage, he ends up using his claws to see into her memory because he does not believe her. Obviously, all Peter's concerned about is his money. He wants the money. He wants that bag of money. Of course, we know that Scott has that bag of money, and he hasn't given it to Peter yet. He's not going to give it to Peter, probably. He basically, he used his claws to see into her memory, and that was really big. Now, meanwhile, the assassins are attacking Chris and the gang at the warehouse. It's an all-out war right now. Literally, it's just fucking crazy. I love the way this was done. It was like The Walking Dead in this scene. I mean, really, really intense. Love the war scenes in this episode. Very well done. So Lydia stops Sheriff Stilinski and Deputy Parrish from breaking the connection between Peter and Meredith because they don't really know what Peter's really doing to Meredith. and basically we know what he's doing. We see into Meredith's memories, and it turns out that Meredith was in the same hospital bed as Peter. Now, Meredith is whispering something, and, Sheriff Stilinski and Deputy Parrish, they can't really tell what she is saying. So, Lydia says, I can tell what she's saying, and basically, she hears that Meredith was in the same hospital as Peter, both of whom seem to be medical mysteries. The doctors could not figure out how Peter was still alive and how Meredith was still alive. Obviously, we know because Peter's a werewolf and Meredith is a banshee, so they just can't die from that. So that's why we know that, but they were trying to figure out. They were kind of mind-boggled because of that. So, yeah, that was definitely very interesting. So then while lying in bed, Meredith heard every thought that was going through Peter's addled mind. She was exposed to that for weeks, maybe even months. And during that time, Peter was rattling off his thoughts about how he wanted to kill all the supernatural creatures in Beacon Hill to get rid of the weak. And yeah, so that was definitely very interesting in my opinion. I thought that was just very, very big and just definitely very interesting. So then at the lake house, Malia can hear something. She can hear, they're listening to the record player, but they can't hear anything. And Stiles is ready to give up. He's basically telling her, you know what, this is hopeless. We're not going to find anything here. This is pretty hopeless. Nothing's gonna really happen here. If it's just going to sit here and not do anything, it's not going to do anything for us. And Malia says, wait, I can still hear something. Now, they hear something spinning, even after but Stiles has turned off the record player, obviously, so there's something else going on here. They find this cord embedded in the wall, and Stiles ends up pulling it, and he keeps pulling it. The wall ends up completely, he eventually opens up the wall completely, and we find the machines Lorraine had listened to when she came up with the deadpool. Now, of course, remember, the deadpool was not originally supposed to be a hit list. It was supposed to be a list of, the people who were, was not originally supposed to be a hit list. It was supposed to be a list of the people who were, what do you call it? The list of people, who were in danger of dying. That's what it was originally supposed to be. So there's this huge, speaker, and there's this disc spinning around, basically. So, I mean, that was really cool to see. I really liked that twist. I thought that was definitely a very good twist, in my opinion. I definitely really enjoyed that. So basically, we find out that the disc is basically going to continue spinning until they find out, it's going to continue spinning until they find out what's going to end up happening, really, until they find this key. That's basically what they realize. So, meanwhile, the group at the warehouse are battling the assassins, and, really, still really intense shit going on there. And Scott, Scott is, definitely going crazy there. I mean, very good, scenes, as I said. So, Sheriff Stilinski is holding a gun to Peter's head, but logic won't even let him pull the trigger. Now, basically, at this point, Sheriff Stilinski and Parrish, they're both thinking that Peter faked it. That Meredith, Peter's name is not on the hit list, obviously. So, in their imagination, the logical thing here is that Peter is actually the benefactor and not Meredith. Now, if that would have been true, I thought that would have been a cool twist, but that's not what's going on here. Because Peter walks away, Meredith yells that it's not over yet, there's more they need to figure out, and basically, Lydia ends up calling Stiles and Malia, so, she ends up calling Stiles and Malia, basically. And, the reason is, the reason that she did this is because, she's figuring out that that the wine Lydia spilled on the floor during the party they didn't meant to throw wasn't actually wine. Because if you think about it, it makes sense, because the ashes weren't the ashes, the Deadpool wasn't the Deadpool, the record player wasn't a record player. I mean, nothing is what it seems, really. So the wine isn't wine. There are clues in a lot of things here. So it definitely does make sense as to why this is happening. So basically, Malia smashes the bottle open, and they find a key that will turn off Lorraine's machines. And as soon as this happens, the assassins get a text from the benefactor saying all the contracts have been terminated. But the question is, can it really be over? Because, I mean, this is still the third to last episode of the show, of the season. I mean, not the show. Show's not over. Show's not going anywhere, hopefully. So yeah, there's still something else going on there, definitely. There's still something else going on, and, there's no way that it's all the way over. There's just no way. I do not believe that it's all the way over, because it just doesn't seem logical to me that it's all the way over. It really doesn't. So, then what ends up happening is, basically what ends up happening after this. Okay, basically what ends up happening is that, they find the bottle and everything, and Kira asks Scott if it's really over. She does not think it's all the way over. Now, Lydia attempts to comfort Meredith after everything is ended, because they think everything's okay, everything's fine now. And, she kind of is realizing why Meredith did this. Now, Meredith says she heard Lydia scream, and that's when she knew it was the right time to start over with her life. She says that Peter is the alpha, and he's always been the alpha. She also tells Lydia that all the supernatural beings are the cause of death, but Lydia says that not all monsters do monstrous things. Now, that's true, definitely. There are quite a few that don't do monstrous things. And she tells Meredith that Scott doesn't do monstrous things. Um, something happened, doesn't do monstrous, that when Scott does, when she tells Malia that Scott doesn't do monstrous things, and something happens, and Meredith says, "Oh God, what have I done?" And we don't really know what's going on. Now, then we see Peter and Kate meet, and it seems like the entire thing was a part of Peter's plan all along, because, Kate's saying, do you want to bail on the plan? Because it seems like they have some sort of plan going on, and he basically says not when he is that close, he is that close to killing Scott. We're realizing what he wants to do. He wants to kill Scott. He says, not when I'm this close to killing Scott McCall. And that's how the episode ended. And I gotta say, this episode was just amazing. I love this episode. Thought it was by far the best episode of the season. Absolutely loved this episode. Thought it was just absolutely fantastic. Now, there are a few things I definitely do want to talk about here. Definitely. First of all, there is no way that this whole assassin thing is over. There's no way. There are 2 episodes left of the season. There is no way this assassin thing is over. There's no way. And there's evidence that I can tell that proves it's not over. First of all, I'm pretty much thinking that Peter and Kate came up with this whole plan. I mean, the whole Peter not remembering Meredith's story, I think Peter really is the benefactor. I think he is. I think Peter and Kate are both the benefactor, and they came up with this plan on their own. Now, Meredith, I do think that she knows something that's going on, or maybe Meredith is just, I really don't know. Do you guys think Meredith is working with Peter and Kate? I really don't know if she is, but I definitely feel that Peter and Kate have something to do with the benefactor, definitely. They know a lot more than we think they know, and especially now that we know Peter is sent to kill Scott, I definitely feel these assassins and everything, it was all their plan all along. I definitely feel that. I really feel like that was their plan. Definitely, I really feel that way, and I feel that's what's going to happen here. Definitely, I'm interested in seeing what else is going to happen. Now, another thing to talk about is Meredith's motive. I mean, do you understand why Meredith did what she did? I understand why she did what she did, but the whole thing with Peter and Meredith meeting, do you think that's all real, or is that, I mean, I really don't know what to think right now, because I feel like Meredith, I don't know if I can trust her. I really don't. After the whole thing we just found out with Peter, I don't know if we can trust her. I really don't think we can. And I really don't know. And it looks like in next week's episode, Scott and Kira are going to actually end up tied up in, like, there was, like, blood from their mouth. We saw, like, a preview, and I thought it was a pretty cool preview, actually. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. As far as Stiles and Malia go, I don't know what's going to happen as far as Stiles and Malia. They stopped the whole, they got the key, and they stopped the whole Deadpool, but there's no way that this whole Deadpool thing is over. It can't just be that simple. There has to be something more to this, definitely. And I feel that Sheriff Stilinski and Deputy Parrish, they had that gut feeling that Peter is the benefactor. It definitely does make sense, definitely. Because if you think about it, Peter really in this episode was portrayed as a villain. He really was. I mean, Meredith, I sympathize for her. I understand why she did what she did. I do. She wanted to turn to Lydia, and the best way for her to do it was to do this. That's why she put herself on the list, she wanted to turn to Lydia and actually meet with Lydia. So I thought that was definitely very interesting. And of course, there's the whole thing with, you guys probably thinking, well, how come she could hear her if they didn't even know each other? Well, banshees, can sense each other. That's probably why she did what she did. But I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen in the next episode. The other thing that I am wondering is Styles and Malia. I'm happy that they're back together. Scott and Kira, I'm glad they're back together. It seems like now we're done with the whole relationship drama, and now we're actually on the actual, story here. It's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. I'm wondering if there's still more about Lorraine, Martin, and Brunski. I think there's a little bit more we're still learning about. I just think there's a little bit more. I feel there's something else going on there. And also Liam. What do you guys think of Liam? Definitely I feel, Liam, I like seeing him fight with Scott, definitely. I like seeing him worried. I definitely feel, though, that Liam is going to become as powerful as Scott, definitely. And also, Meredith made that comment to Lydia that Scott is not the alpha, that, Peter's always been the alpha. So, is Scott not actually the alpha? That's my question here. Because I don't think there can be two alphas, so I really don't know what's going on there. You guys will have to help me with that, but let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, love this episode. Thought it was, as I said, by far best episode of the season. Really did love it. That's it, my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And Teen Wolf seriously should be on Sundays all the time. It really is great on Sundays. I love it on Mondays, but seriously, not 7 o'clock. Not 7 o'clock. I don't like it at 7 o'clock, but Sundays, I think it should be a Sunday show, personally. I really do. Do you guys feel that way? I don't know. I just feel that way. But that's it, my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in my next video, which will be my review for the series finale of True Blood, which we'll have to see how that works out. I don't know. We'll have to see with that show. But I'll see you guys then. Okay, bye.